Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the show. I hope you'll become a subscriber by the end of this movie. So, over the last few months, we've seen Ripple grow very quickly, and it's not just in the US or a few places around the world. It is an international project. Really think about what's been going on since 2022. Ripple has been getting their name out there in almost every country in the world. It's amazing to see how far Ripple and the Ripple network, in this case Ripple Payments, have grown around the world. I have been talking about this. Here's the main mistake that many people make when they talk about Ripple. They think that everything the company does will quickly lead to XRP being used. When people use Ripple payments, they can choose whether to use XRP or not. For a while now, using XRP has been looked at with suspicion because the rules are still not completely clear. Even though XRP has been cleared, there are still some things that need to be done before XRP and Ripple can be fully used. That's why we're looking at the business sales side. What we're really waiting for is for that big thing to be finished. However, the most important thing to know is that XRP is not being used on a large scale as most creators would have you think. Several people are making it seem like XRP is being used to move trillions of dollars right now, when in reality it's only a few billion dollars. I'm not going to name names, but it's a big problem in this space. But I will say this, XRP has a pretty clear way forward when we look at a lot of these Ripple announcements. We know that Ripple thinks about XRP in everything they do. This is what all of Ripple's workers, or at least a lot of the important ones, have told us. But if we look at this announcement from February, we can see that Unicambio, our first Portuguese client and the country's largest currency exchange provider, is planning to raise the Ripple flag in Portugal today. Their corporate customers can now move money almost instantly between Portugal and Brazil. It's interesting to see how well-known Ripple was already in Brazil, where it was used by Travelex Bank. Ripple has also made a few other big moves in the Brazil market, even before the Travelex news came out, but not even a month later. It's been about 2 weeks since then. We also heard from Ripple that they were teaming up with BDAX to increase the number of institutions in South Korea that hold crypto. Additionally, they made it clear that they will use Ripple security to keep XRP, RLUSD, and other crypto assets safe, helping institutions accept XRP, XRP ledger developers grow, and Korea's changing rules and regulations, a big step toward making the on-chain economy stronger in the area. Then, at the start of March, we saw that Ripple was speeding up the use of cryptocurrencies in Europe. Of course, they talked about the start of Ripple payments in Portugal with Unicambio. But it's more than that, right? Because, as I already said, this is a big one. The announcement of Unicambio, they also talked about Mercado Bitcoin and Travelex Bank. But in this case, the market in Europe is being looked at. This is where we look at DZ Bank, DBVA, and Societe Generale stablecoin, which will start this year on the XRP ledger. Is there something interesting about this? These partnerships for child custody are now being looked at more closely. However, to go over the size of the network again, you have 90 ways to get paid. You are now also covered for 90% of the daily FX markets. And as I already said, Ripple Payments has handled $70 billion in transactions. Once more, this is a very small amount of XRP. That's why I say, we haven't seen how big this is yet. Things get really exciting when they start to grow. That's when the big money trend starts to happen, where trillions of dollars are being talked about instead of billions. I also think that all of that has something to do with tokenization. That's a big thing that drives and speeds up this. The US market is now open, though, and I think that will change everything. But on top of that, we heard another big news a few days later. Ripple had gotten regulatory approval from the Dubai Financial Services Authority, and this was all about letting people in the UAE make fully controlled cross-border payments. Ripple did all of this over the course of about a month. However, you may be thinking why I'm going over all of this again. It's because of this statement that just took place. The way payments are made in Africa is changing, and we're excited to be at the front of this trip. We've teamed up with Ripple to make it easier and faster for people in Africa to send money across borders using Ripple payments. Take a look at how this relationship is changing the market for cross-border payments. This is very important because Chipper is very big. About 5 million people use Chipper Cash's website, and more than 1 million virtual Visa Chipper cards are given out every day. There are also more than 6,000 U.S. public companies to trade in, and 250,000 transactions happen every day. This is a huge giant, especially when you think about how long it will last. In fact, there have been 91.2 million deals. However, what is the value of those deals? Because it's not just $1. It's possible that this will add up to billions of dollars to the value of the deal. But once more, it's also the fact that Ripple now serves the whole African market. Why? In any case, do you remember On a Freak? There is also On a Freak as a Ripple partner. About 500 million mobile wallets are linked to On a Freak, along with 1,700 cross-barter payment corridors, 180 mobile network operators, mobile terminal operators, and banks. They also have 470,000 business and merchant customers, and 41 African countries are connected to their network. There are many networks like this one for Africa. They also use Ripple to make payments. But Reese Merrick, who is in charge of the Middle East and Africa at Ripple, said that today is a very important day for the company in Africa. Our new relationship with the Chipper Cash app will make it easier and faster to send money across borders to Africa using Ripple payments. Through blockchain technology, we're all working together to boost economic growth and new ideas all over the continent. The news over here is very interesting since we already know that this is meant to help with funds across borders. That's not something we need to talk about, right? The words here are what we're mostly interested in. The first quote comes from Reese Merrick. I've already read this one, but it keeps going. That is, by adding our technology to Chipper Cash's platform, we're making international transfers faster and cheaper while also boosting economic growth and new ideas in the areas they serve. Ripple has been tokenizing real-world assets for more than 10 years. To make foreign money transfers easier, they first brought fiat currencies on-chain. As the market for sending money between countries grows, more companies like Chipper Cash are using blockchain technology to make things more efficient and come up with new ideas. Crypto-enabled payments could help more people get access to financial services, speed up entry to global markets, and give businesses and people in Africa more power. Our team is excited to be able to use the game-changing power of blockchain technology to help people get their payments faster and cheaper by connecting to Ripple's global payments network. This is really cool. And of course, I love that they brought up Owner Freak because that was a big step forward from Ripple. Also, we need to think about the network, right? These are the agreements with Ripple that have been made public. All of this is before we even talk about the relationships that include thousands of other players. For instance, like Owner Freak. This is one of Wave's partners. What does that have to do with anything? Actually, it's because of the numbers. If you use Ripple to join to the Owner Freak network, you're now also connected to 41 more countries in that network. With this in mind, we think about how much bigger the Ripple network really is. There are huge network effects here, just a small selection of the news stories that have come out in the past month. We know that Brad Garlinghouse said that they are meeting with and growing with more companies and players in the crossword payment field than ever before since the election. You can read that here.